yesterday was day 163 of protests in the city of Elizabeth City and the county of Pasquotank County, North Carolina, over the police shooting of Andrew Brown Jr. that took place a long time ago now. I think it's over 5 months. I mean, we've been out here for quite a long time. But yesterday we had a pretty good march. More people are showing up. People are starting to come back out. The weather's getting cooler, etc. It's me. That's me in the background. I don't normally wear jeans, so get a look at it while you can. But yesterday, also earlier in the day, was court. We had court. There were 12 of us that were persecuted, targeted by the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department. And so now that the court case is over, I'm going to explain what happened. And so that's happening. So I've been a little bit hush-hush about this because it's an active court case. That's what you're supposed to do. Keep them guessing what's going on, right? But now the case has been dismissed. So about 2.5 months ago, a group of protesters decided to do a sidewalk demonstration. And this was back when we were doing daily marches in the street. But some folks decided to do a sidewalk demonstration at nighttime. And during that demonstration, there were people caught on camera talking, like heckling the protest. And some people were caught on camera flashing white power symbols. And so people quickly found out who they were. And it turns out they worked for a healthcare company. And people did not like the idea of a healthcare worker being a white supremacist in a city that is half African American. And so people called and asked for them to be terminated. I don't actually know if they were actually fired. But as a result, right-wingers were upset. They were very upset by that in Pasquotank County. And what they did was they printed a list of names in one of their Facebook groups. They printed a list of names of anyone that they found on Facebook that was participating in the Andrew Brown protests. So in that Facebook group, they posted the list of names. I was on the list of names, and so were a bunch of other people. A lot of the other people that were not even protesting. A lot of the people that were involved in this whole thing had not come out to a single day of protesting. And so it was just basically a list of mutual friends of mutual friends of mutual friends of people that use the hashtag on Facebook because boomers on Facebook are stupid. And so now people replied to these things with a lot of posts. And one of the posts said, "Let's get them all fired instead." Now, these posts were screenshotted by someone on a cell phone. Now, as we all know, cell phones are notorious for having small screens. I just unplugged my cell phone. But as you can see, this is my cell phone. It has a small screen. And so as a result, when people take screenshots of their cell phone, there is a feature called scroll capture, but most people don't know how to use it because they're stupid. No offense. I'm not trying. You know who you are. I understand. It's all good. I'm just saying there is a feature called scroll capture. Look into it. I love you, though. But anyway, so some people took screenshots. And in these screenshots, there were multiple screenshots that were taking place, just to tell everyone that these people are talking about us. And one of the screenshots had the post, "Let's get them fired instead," cropped out of the image. So it said, "Let's get them." And so now, again, these screenshots, the whole thread, to my understanding, was screenshotted, but through like a game of telephone, people sending things whenever. One of the screenshots really was the one that made it to the group of protesters and caused them to panic, and that's the one with the cropped out, "Let's get them." So people thought that was a death threat. People interpreted it that way. And so everyone that was on the list was contacted by a certain individual, and I will not name their name at this point, but they contacted everyone and sent them the one screenshot instead of all of the screenshots. So I myself was contacted as I was on the list, and I was also requested to film the entire interaction. And so we caught the entire interaction with filing this police report on tape. and that was basically exculpatory evidence for us, but that we didn't even get to the point where we needed to use it. But either way, individual one, as I will refer to her as, sent just the one screenshot, the cropped one, to everyone and caused them to panic. Now, I'm not saying that there was any intent there. I'm just saying that's what happened. That's the facts of the matter. So they sent everyone, including myself, the one screenshot, and we all made a group time to go file a police report. So we originally went to the Elizabeth City Police Department, and what we did was we told them the whole situation, and they said that it's not enough, it's not clear enough language for them to investigate. They don't care. That being said, they told us to go try the county sheriff's department because some of these people posting in the Facebook group are from the county and not the city. And so the Elizabeth City Police Department, under the head leadership of Eddie Buffalo, which has been now nominated to the cabinet of the governor of North Carolina, a disgusting move, fuck Roy Cooper, but I'm going to get into that later. Basically, they told us to fuck off and go to the sheriff's department. The sheriff department recently, at that time, was posting a lot of press releases basically saying they don't care about protests. They're going to stop providing protection to protesters in the marching in the streets. They're going to stop covering the protests. They're going to pretend that the protests don't exist. And so they've been doing a lot of public press releases at that time. And so what they did was they decided to then also, they said if anyone needed anything, like if there was any protest-related injury or if there's any attacks or anything, that they would investigate it or whatever. And they had also spent the previous 2 months at that time basically telling us if there's anything that actually happens to let them know. So the people decided, all right, the Elizabeth City Police told us to fuck off, so we went to the sheriff's department at their behest and filed a complaint. Now, we did not file an official report. That is not what occurred. At least that was not what occurred, beknownst to the people involved. A lot of these people that filed a complaint did not know that they were filing a report. They were just saying, hey, there's something going on. We thought you should know. So what happened was we entered the lobby. Now, again, I have this whole thing on video. I will not be posting the video publicly because it includes a lot of people's private details, and I'm not about that. I don't want to, publish people's personal information. That being said, again, I did record the entire interaction so that if the police did lie about it later, we could destroy them with facts and logic. Every single interaction I have with a cop is recorded. Yes, even the cop who told me not to record them the other day. Don't worry, though, I didn't publish it, but I do have it for my own personal use because you can't trust police officers. They will always lie, and they will always fuck you over. And so I had the foresight to record the interaction. Now, if the interaction was not recorded, we might have been in trouble. But either way, so basically, we told them, we printed out a screenshot, we being someone that's not me, printed out the screenshot that was handed to everyone. Again, the one cropped screenshot that the one individual decided to send instead of all the screenshots, but, that's neither here nor there. They printed that out and handed it to police and said that we felt threatened. Now, this Facebook group is some right-wing news Facebook group. I don't know what's going on with that. I, to be honest with you, don't know how to use Facebook. I don't know what the Facebook group is. I am not involved in the Facebook group. But the people in this Facebook group were later subpoenaed, and we'll get into that later, that made these comments. Some of them post on my YouTube channel. Hi, Mike. How's it going? You forgot to show up in court yesterday. But either way, so people sent them the screenshot, and basically they asked us for our names and then said, we're going to look into it. And there were some other details that don't need to be public. But, again, they said that they would look into it. So, they looked into it. And then a couple days later, the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department published a document on their Facebook page, which is very unusual. They usually do press releases of this nature, but they usually do not publish them to their Facebook page. And so they published a press release to the Facebook page saying that they had filed criminal summonses against people for filing a false police report. So actually, I've got mine right here, and I want to read the language. This is the document that they gave to me. The sheriff deputies, Terry Meads and J.J. Daniels, and there was some other stupid bitch. They came to all of our houses 3 sheriff deputies, normally when serving a criminal summons, which is something that barely ever happens because normally people get arrested when they break the law. But normally they have 1, sometimes on a very rare occasion, 2 sheriff deputies serve these, essentially warrants. This time we had 3, and they ran around town, and basically what they did was they served us. Now, I had known that they were doing this, so I waited for them on the porch. But this is for violating the specific law. Let me see which one. False report to police station. Now, again, we were not under the impression we were even making a report. We basically said, hey, you told us to report, let you know anything. We didn't know we were filing an official report. Now, again, a lot of the people involved with this criminal summons had never done anything related to the cops. They'd never called the cops. Some of them had never even been out to a protest. A lot of them, actually. I think a majority of them never actually really came to the protest, maybe a couple of times. And so now, also, yeah, the other one is, okay. So let me read this to you. I, the undersigned, find that there is problematic cause to believe that on or about the date of the offense, blah, blah, blah. You unlawfully and willfully did make to a law enforcement agency, Deputy T. Meads with Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department, a misleading report. Right now, again, the key words here are unlawfully and willfully in this criminal summons, right? Under the, blah, 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 that they had been harassed and threatened on social media. Now, the harassment is factual. Them posting a list of names of people involved on Facebook that are involved with the protest, that is objectively harassment. But threats are, again, that's under, you could think about that. Now, again, one person who had access to the entire Facebook post did propagate a cropped screenshot and none of the other ones. But is that still willfully? It's very possible that they just felt threatened and just posted the one that they found was most important in that instance. That's very possible. What's also possible is they just didn't, factor in that people would need or care. I don't know. I can't analyze their intent because I am not them. But either way, they only posted one screenshot to the rest of us. So all of the rest of us that were served with this only had the one screenshot to go off of. One of us that was served with this did have the full context, but did not share that with the rest of us. But either way, the key phrase here is willfully, right? And then the rest just describes what I described. So now again, this was signed off by the way, by Donna L. Dees, a magistrate who probably cashed in a favor or had a favor cashed in, stupid, corrupt bitch. But either way, it's bullshit. So basically, when you ask someone to investigate, the idea is they would investigate and tell you what they found. And they say, all right, we investigated. We know you don't have access to this Facebook page. We found that was just a cropped screenshot. There was actually more. It said that they just want to get you fired. That is objectively harassment. That is also objectively a threat. It's not a death threat or a threat of physical violence, but it is in fact a threat, but that's neither here nor there. So what they did instead was, without calling us back, without saying, hi, by the way, we found out your investigation, there, it's no real big deal. They just came to our houses and served us with an unusually large amount of sheriff deputies doing the serving. And so there's a lot more detail, but that basically, we then got a court date that was 2 weeks after the serving. And we showed up, we had a lawyer, and we were ready to go to trial. The state asked for a continuance because they didn't know that we were so ready. They didn't know we would be organized. And so they did not have their chickens in order at that current moment. So they decided to continue the case until yesterday, about 2.5 months later. So about earlier in the week, they subpoenaed the people that were involved in this Facebook group. They're irrelevant. They have nothing to do with the case. The case was whether or not we willfully, or quote, with intent, whether or not we willfully cropped out that screenshot and gave them a misleading report. Now, it's very possible that individual one willfully did that. I don't know. I don't know what was going on in their head. I have no idea what their deal is. But the rest of us only got one screenshot. So it is impossible for the rest of us to have even remotely come close to willfully deceiving the police, because we didn't have the full information. Now, one of the people may very well have willfully done it, It's impossible to prove that, but they may very well have. But the rest of us, it is impossible. It is just factually impossible. It's like, were you on Mars yesterday? Just not going to happen. Man, I'm just scrolling through here. But either way, so basically what happened was we were going to use the video that showed them, that showed us going to the police station to file, a complaint or, ask them to investigate it. And basically we would show them that we only had access to this one screenshot, blah, blah, blah. But we didn't even get to that part because earlier this week they subpoenaed the people involved with the Facebook group and they didn't show up in court. So what we did was we waited there all day. And then when they finally got to our case, they called up the subpoenaed witnesses and they weren't there. They weren't there. They forgot. Who knows what was going on, but they forgot. They just didn't show up. That's violating the law. So Mike Albertson and Alice Gandy, you might have some criminal stuff to deal with soon because you were found in contempt of court. You didn't show up to a subpoena that is a legally binding contract. But is the state going to enforce that? Of course not. Because they enforce things, with a double standard. They intimidate protesters. They try to attack protesters. They illegally arrest protesters. They threaten protesters. But anyone making threats against protesters, they're fine. They're chill. But either way, in my opinion, lock them up. By the way, you can get 6 months in jail for failing to show up to a court appearance when you get subpoenaed. But either way, so the district attorney or assistant district attorney, it wasn't Andrew Womble, is, somewhere down the chain, looked like they were extremely embarrassed. They flustered. They said that they looked stupid. They said that, they think the case is stupid and should be thrown out, but, they're not going to argue. Like, they literally said that we look stupid. The sheriff deputy, Meads, also, by the way, fun fact, she got her nipples pierced at some point in between filing these criminal summonses and this court date. And how do we know that? Well, I'm just saying it's a really fun fact. But anyway, so she was sitting there basically looking like a dumb motherfucker, right? She looked embarrassed. She did this, she looked like she was fucking stupid. And so that's fun. I love that. Now, I want to talk about this. So the court, the judge threw it out because it was ridiculous and they didn't have their shit together. Neither of their witnesses showed up and they looked stupid. But I want to let you all know, yes, the sheriff's department fumbled. Yes, they could have gone even further. We would have won the case because we had the video. But we could, I would have liked to show them the video. That would have been fun to see their reaction to them lying and perjuring themselves. I would have loved to see that. But either way, this was a win for the sheriff's department because they successfully intimidated people and caused undue stress to people's lives. People had ongoing criminal charges against them that affected them for these 3 months. That affected their interactions with background checks. That affected their stress levels, having to hire a lawyer, having to have lawyer calls, having to go to court multiple times. That affects people's mental state. It scares some people away from doing more protest-related activities. It, scares people away from even calling the police. It scares people away from even calling the police, even if they need something. Which, now, again, I disagree with even talking to police in the first place. That being said, if people are going to talk to the police, I'm going to film it because I care about other people. And I care about myself, and I don't trust police. But again, this did cause a lot of anguish for a lot of people. And that is a win for the sheriff's department because for them, it cost $0. For them, it was just, all right, let's just do this. Let's just annoy the fuck out of these people. And then maybe they'll stop protesting. Now, I want to say it didn't make me stop protesting. I went out there and have not missed a single day since these, proceedings were underway. Because I am not easily intimidated by police. I understood the entire time that the police were doing this to intimidate me, and I'm not going to let a bitch-ass cop intimidate me. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, Meads. I don't give a shit about you or your little cringe crew. And Tommy Wooten, you can suck my goddamn dick, bitch. That being said, again, it does cause intimidation, and that is the role, that is the goal in these false charges. The Elizabeth City Police Department, also under the leadership of Eddie Buffalo, did the same thing when they illegally arrested protesters on the sidewalk many times, when they threatened to tase protesters, when they let an angry Confederate soldier jump through and run down 3 protesters, hitting and hurting 3 protesters that are still dealing with those injuries. The Elizabeth City Police Department is not in any capacity innocent at all. They are also garbage. All the cops in Elizabeth City are bastards. They're shit. They're fucking evil, right? And the ones that claim that they aren't are pussies. They're beta male bitches that are afraid to speak out against their coworkers. Yes, I'm talking to you, the cop who stopped me and said you loved my show the other week. You're a beta male. I'm sorry. Quit your job, or fucking, maybe if you want, you can leak me some information. Give me some info and I'll publish it for you. Do something good for once. But I'm sorry. I don't like you. I'm just saying, I'm glad you love my show, but whatever. But again, the thing here is intimidation. They successfully intimidated a lot of people, and they reduced the numbers of protests partially, and they basically made a big PR thing about, oh, look, we're going after protesters, and the right wing said, oh, they're tough on crime. They're tough. We're going to get those rioters and looters, even though there was no rioting and no looting in Elizabeth City. 164 days today, and there was not a single broken window, not a single stolen object, no rioting, no looting. But the right wing loves to call us rioters and looters, right? Uncivilized savages. And so they basically got what they wanted. They think Tommy Wooten's tough on crime. They think he's tough on protesters. They think he's cracking down on the black people. And that's what they wanted. They accomplished all of their goals, right? Because it was never about finding us guilty. It was about the positive PR for them and making our lives more stressful. And so y'all need to understand, cops are bastards. All cops are bastards. There's not a single exception, because they're all shit. If your coworker was breaking the law and hurting innocent people fighting for justice and you didn't do anything about it, I'm sorry. You're a loser, you're a coward, and go fuck yourself. And go fuck yourself to the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department. Go fuck yourself to the Elizabeth City Police Department. Y'all are a bunch of bastards. And try again. Try me. Try me. I'm waiting. So anyway, it's a little bit of a long segment, but what are you going to do? How's everyone doing? I kind of, I'm pretty blasted right now, so I was in my own world during that whole thing. So let me read the chat. "22 minutes in, let's start the show." I love it. I love it. If you want to be the scariest thing, dress as a cop and run around a gun acting threatening for no reason. There you go. That'd scare the shit out of people, because cops are fucking evil thugs. Imagine thinking it matters which was said is still a coordinated effort to ruin lives for merely protesting. And again, that's the thing about it that was really bizarre, is most of the people involved with this court case were not protesters. They were just people that were in the list because they posted a hashtag on Facebook at some point. Like, I'm sorry, posting a hashtag on Facebook is not protesting. Like, I'm glad that you're supportive, absolutely, and I'm not trying to attack you or anything. I'm just saying, like, for right-wingers to think that they're protesters because they just posted a hashtag, I mean, that's how stupid the right wing is. They think, oh, this person said hashtag no justice, no peace on Facebook. They're an evil rioter. Huh? Eddie Buffalo literally turned a blind eye to a car driving through the protesters. I will cover that, yes. That is some. I covered that already, obviously, when it happened. But I'm going to talk about that some more later. I couldn't record my beating. I am so sorry about that, Chokey. I have been attacked by cops many times, and it's one of the main reasons why I have an always record the police ideology. There is not a single exception. Every police interaction I've had in the last, every single police interaction I've had during these entire protests have all been recorded. Meads is a rich family in the Pasquotank County area. One of, like, you know, the wealthy white families that own a lot of land here in North Carolina. I wonder where they got that land from. You're telling me there's a giant population of a single family that has a fuckload of, you know, intergenerational wealth in North Carolina, and they own a lot of land? Huh. Wow. I wonder where that came from. But either way, they've spawned a lot of Cretans. I know that I don't know what the direct relationship is between. There's Jonathan Meads on the county commission. There's Daniel Meads, a you know, snuff film director and murderer of Andrew Brown, and there's Terry Meads, the one that got her nipples pierced and decided to file bogus charges against us. I don't know what their relation is, but they're all different people. So. Adding willfully really fucked them. Well, that's the law. The law that they cited with, like, the false police report law has intent written into the law. So that was just like a copy and paste of what the law the law violation was. So, but it's like, imagine if I called the cops, like, hey, I heard a loud noise outside. I think someone's gonna break in, and then it turns out that, like, it was just like a dog or a cat or something, like, scratching the window. Is that filing a false police report? Because, oh, I thought someone was going to break in. That's filing a false police report now? No, it's not. No, it's not. They're stupid. Humiliating cops gives me life. It kept me going. Hell yes. The argument, I have no idea what subpoenaing the people in the Facebook group has to do with anything. Like, I literally have no idea what they could have contributed. Because what they had to prove was intent to file a false police report. Like, that would have to be proven by finding out, like, a secret post that we made that said, haha, let's crop the screenshot. Now, again, individual one very well could have done that. They had access to the entire chat message, and they chose, for whatever reason, I don't know what the reason is, but they chose to send just one screenshot to the rest of us. I don't know why. I have no idea why they would do that. Chances are, they just thought that it was the most relevant one, and they didn't need to, like, spam people with a bunch of shit. That's very possible. But for the rest of us, it's impossible to prove intent. But, you know. Daniel Johnson, holy shit. But yeah, this is what's happened over the last couple of months. Obviously, I didn't want to release the fact that I had the video the whole time. You know, and I didn't want to talk about the details because, you know, I am a public person. And so as a result, I wanted to respect the privacy of other people, but yeah, these cops in Pasquotank are dumb as hell. But at the end of the day, again, it wasn't about proving intent. It wasn't about convicting us. It wasn't about finding us guilty. It was about wasting people's time, wasting people's energy, wasting people's money. But we had a great attorney that did it for free at no cost to us, Mr. Johnny Finch in Elizabeth City. Shout out to that motherfucker. He's awesome. They didn't expect us to be organized in that fashion. And their goal was to break up the protest movement. Their goal was to intimidate people. And those goals were accomplished in a lot of ways. So I want to be very clear that yes, they look stupid, but you need to understand why they do these things. And they do these things to intimidate people. They do these things to make people afraid. They do these things to waste people's time, money, and energy because they don't have to hire a lawyer. They don't have to look for lawyers. They don't have to, like, call their friends and family to see if anyone knows a lawyer. They don't, you know. So, that's the goal of this shit. That's the real material goal of these things. And so that's enough of the Q&A, I guess. I didn't, intend on doing a Q&A, or it's not even a Q&A, I was just reading the chat.